All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the top 10 fishing rods under $100. Hope you guys enjoy. If you guys think I'm incorrect on any of these choices, or there's one that you think should have been on this list, let me know in the comments below and I'd be happy to add it onto next video. That's actually how a couple of these rods got included in today's video. So thank you guys for helping out with that. Now for number 10 on this list, coming in at $49.99, we have the Berkley Lightning Rod. Now this is a rod that's been around for a long time. There's a couple different models of it. They had an older model, they've made a newer version. And the way that I like to explain this rod is it's got almost the durability of an ugly stick, but with a little more sensitivity. So if you guys are wanting something, you know, a lower end rod just to kind of have as like a beat up, go, you know, around the pond setup, this is a great rod to do that. They've got a 7-foot medium, a 7-foot medium heavy. This would be an awesome all-around bass rod for ponds and just kind of, like I said, your kind of workhorse rod that you can thrash and you don't have to worry about it breaking, and if it did, you're not out a ton of money. So the Berkley Lightning Rod is an awesome choice. I sell a ton of them at our shop. A lot of people come in and ask for them. It's a very popular product. Now the next rod on this list is a little more geared towards trout, salmon, steelhead, kokanee, more of your you know, trout and salmonoid family, and this is going to be the Okuma celilo. Coming in at $34.99. This is one of the best rods on the market for the money right now. I have actually fished with a few of the celilos. This one right here, I believe, is the 7-foot light or 7.6 light, and then I've also used the 5'6" ultralight, as well as there's a taller ultralight, like a 6 or 7 foot ultralight. I've used like 3 or 4 different models of this rod, and I absolutely love them. If you guys are getting into trout and panfish and you need a cheap ultralight rod that's going to get the job done, I don't think there is anything better than the Okuma celilo for the money. I don't know how Okuma's selling it for $34.99. I really don't, because this rod fishes phenomenal. If you were to pair that with like a Shimano Sedona or a Frostbite Diesel or something in that like $40 to $60, $40 to $70 range, you're talking a sub $100 trout setup that is going to fish well for years and years to come. That is such an epic setup in my opinion. Now for number 8 on this list, we've got a little bit step up here. This rod is coming in at $69.99, and this is going to be the Ugly Stik Elite. Now the Ugly Stik Elite is definitely a jump from the regular Ugly Stik GX2. It's got the same amount of durability, but it's definitely more sensitive and it has nicer components. It's got a better reel seat. There's definitely a lot of upgrades. I would recommend, if you're wanting to buy an Ugly Stik, to jump up to the Elite. I really think if you've got the little extra money, I think the Elite is a much better purchase. But either way, both rods aren't the most sensitive. So if you're needing a rod for overall sensitivity, I don't think this is going to be a great choice. But if you want to buy, you know, if you need some fishing rods for some kids, or you know that yourself, you're not very nice to fishing gear, or you treat outdoor gear pretty harshly, or you need like kind of a cheap backpacking ultralight rod to just kind of, you know, have kind of as a spare, maybe in your car, whatever, right? I think this is a great option. Ugly Stiks have been around for a long time and they're not going anywhere out of the market anytime soon. So I still think for $69.99, I think the Ugly Stik Elite is an awesome option. Not to mention, if you guys need a rod for catfish and carp, this is a phenomenal choice. I love how the Ugly Stik, the bend on an Ugly Stik, that moderate bend in the middle of the rod, I love the way it moves for catfish. It does such a great job. I've used Ugly Stiks for catfish, striper, carp, for like some smaller saltwater species. I had an Ugly Stik I used for sharks and rays for a while. Ugly Stiks, especially the Elites and some of those rods, make a awesome bait fishing rod for larger freshwater game fish. Now, number 7 on this list, we're kind of going back to bass fishing here. This is going to be the highest end bass fishing rod so far on the list, and that is going to be the 13 Fishing Defy rod. Coming in at $54.99, I think this is an awesome rod for those of you that are needing a little bit more of a sensitive rod than that Berkley Lightning rod, but you still want to stay under that like $60 price range. I think this is a great option. If you're willing to spend a little bit more and you like 13 equipment, I fish with the 13 Fishing Omen Black, and it is one of the best bass rods I have ever bought in my life. The only reason why I didn't put it on this list is because it's $110, so I'm technically over that $100 limit. But check out the 13 Fishing Omen Black. That's another one that I absolutely love. I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but I will have everything linked down below if you guys are interested in buying this stuff. Now, number 6 on this list here is the Okuma SST, coming in at around 65 bucks, depending on where you buy it. I actually have a couple of these rods. I don't use them as much for like casting, like their ultralight, their spinning rod versions. I use these more for trolling. I have right here, it is the 7.6 light, and it is the fast, I think it's a moderate fast action 4 to 12 pound line. This is my go-to trolling rod for trout if I'm putting on a Rapala or something, or even I've used this for kokanee fishing if I'm not running a downrigger and I want to throw on like a 1 ounce weight and just go out, fish maybe 15, 20 feet behind me. That is an awesome option just because it does have a little stronger backbone than some of those dedicated kokanee fishing rods. It is overall definitely an upgrade compared to the celilo. If all you got is 35 bucks, right, and you just want a simple trout setup, I still think the celilo is the better purchase for the money. But if you're wanting a little bit nicer rod, a little bit better blank, and you're also wanting a nice bait cast rod to troll with and you don't want to break that budget, I think pairing one of those guys up with like a Daiwa Lexa LC, or like I think Shimano has like the Convector. There's like 3 or 4 reels in there that are like 1 to 150 and they've got a nice line counter on them. That would be an epic little trolling setup for no matter what species you're targeting. What I love about the SST so much is there's so many different models. If you go on Okuma's website, there's the SST trout, there's an SST steelhead / salmon. I think there's like an SST halibut saltwater. I know there's a couple different ones, but there's got to be close to 100 models of SST rods that you have to pick from, which I think is really cool. I think having that many choices, no matter what species of fish you're going for, there's a model for it, especially if you like trout, steelhead, salmon, a lot of those PNW fish. Okuma is a great option for that. Now, number 5 on this list here is the Dobyns Maverick, coming in at $99.99. Now, this is going to be a great choice for bass fishermen. One thing about this rod to me is it feels very similar to the Dobyns Furies, which I've fished. I've got 2 Furies behind me, and I've fished with, I think, 3 or 4 in my fishing career. I love them. I think they're one of the best mid-budget bass rods on the market, and this rod feels very similar to the Furies. So that's why I included that on this list, as well as a couple other people have mentioned that I should put this on the list. So that's why I included it. I personally haven't fished it yet, but if you guys are big Dobyns fans like I am, I think this rod is going to fish very well if you're needing a sub $100 rod. If you're looking to spend a little more money, I love the Furies. I've had a lot of them. They're great rods, but if you want to stick under 100 bucks, I think the Maverick is going to be a great choice for that. Now, the Abu Garcia Vendetta is going to be number 4 on this list, coming in at the $89.99 price range. This is the old model right here. They made huge upgrades to the new one. The new Vendetta has a ton of upgrades, and it not only looks sweet, but it fishes very well. And if you find the old model for cheap, pick that up, because these are great rods as well. But the new model, they really outdid themselves with it. I think Abu Garcia, for budget anglers right now, Abu Garcia is killing it in the bass fishing world. I think you're getting a very good value for the money in a lot of that equipment. Not a huge fan of their higher end stuff, but oh my goodness, rods like this are awesome. If you're needing kind of an all-around bass fishing rod to do a little bit of everything, a 7-foot medium Vendetta is going to cover a lot of different uses for you. Another one that I've talked about previously on the channel that I'm a huge fan of is the Abu Garcia Veritas. It's over the $100 budget marks here, so that's why I didn't include it in the video, but I fished a Veritas as well. I absolutely love them. If you've got the extra money, 100% recommend. Now, the reason why rod number 3 is on this list is because of you guys. So many of you guys commented about this rod or DM'd me on social media and asked me about this rod or told me that this should be on the list. And that is the Fenwick Eagle, coming in at $99.99. The tackle shop I work at now has these rods in stock, and I was able to kind of look at them and compare them to other rods in that price range, and I'm very impressed. I really like what Fenwick has done with this rod. I feel like Fenwick kind of made a little bit of a comeback in the last couple years. They kind of redid a lot of their rods, and I'm very impressed with the quality. Another one similar to the Eagle is the Fenwick HMG. I think both of these two are 2 of the better rods on the market right now. I'm very impressed with Fenwick. They're killing it now. Now, rod number 2 and number 1 on this list are both bass fishing rods, and they both kind of swap. They kind of both overtake each other. I feel like every time I talk about these, I have a different opinion on which one's better or not, but they're very, very close. Number 2 here is going to be the Shimano SLX rod, coming in at $99.99. I think this rod has a super high quality blank. It fishes much higher end than what the price actually is for it, as well as this rod would pair up very nice if you were to match it with a Shimano SLX reel. That's also $99.99 for $200. I think that is one of the best bass fishing combos that you can get on the market right now. I think that is a phenomenal, like, beginner bait cast setup, or even someone that's been fishing for a while and just wants a good deal on equipment. That is an awesome setup to have and go fish on the water. Now, this battles with the number 1 pick, which is the Daiwa Tatula XT rods, coming in at $99.99 as well. Same thing, the Daiwa Tatula reels. You could pair these two up and you've got kind of a $200 to $250 setup that I think is going to be just bomb. I think both those two combos are whether you want to do an SLX reel with the Daiwa rod, Daiwa reel with the Shimano rod, or just keep the same brand for both of those would make an awesome setup, bait cast or spinning. These are awesome. These are just awesome rods. The Tatulas, they look really sleek. They're super sensitive. They've got a high quality blank. They're another one like the SLX where they feel much nicer than what they actually are, which you can't beat that, right? You can't beat that. Something I've noticed when picking out a rod is sometimes the higher end rods, you can just tell by the foam. Some of those cheap rods, they have a really cheap foam handle on them. They just don't feel really good, or they just look kind of cheap. And those Daiwa and Shimano ones, the foam, the EVA foam they use for the handles are very good quality, especially the Daiwa. The Daiwa Tatula rod feels very high quality in your hands. And that's something I definitely look for before I'm buying a rod, before I've done any research on it. I'm very impressed with the Tatula. Daiwa is killing it on this. Now, most of the products on this list have a spinning and bait cast model available that you can choose from. Up here, I have the top 5 spinning reels for this price point, and right here, I've got the top 5 bait cast reels for this price point. If you guys want to check those out to help compare and build up a setup for your next fishing trip. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys next time.